Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Vicky Skirbo. Welcome to Moon Shadows with me and Ona. Hello, Ona.
Hello, hello, hello.
So, you see a lot of us these days. So, here's another opportunity. We just did a moonshine. No, we just did a Mystic Sisters live episode on your channel on last night, Saturday.
Yeah,
It was a good, I think it was a good show.
yeah,
If
yeah.
anybody hasn't checked it out, you should check it out.
Kind of year in the rear sort of thing.
A year in the rear. Yeah, that's what we sort of called it. Yeah. Yeah.
What you're thinking about this, there's nothing you can do today but reflect. We're in the middle of some kind of, in between some kind of storm patterns thing that's going on. There's just clouds outside and rain pelting on the windows.
Yeah, we have a wet but warm, much warmer than it's been. So it's kind of nice in that respect. Feel like you get a little respite from the brutal cold that we've had. Um,
We're about to.
this is a time of great change, and certainly the weather is part of that change. So we're here on the dark of the moon, actually.
Yeah,
Um, the moon will be moving into Capricorn a little bit later today, I think.
tonight,
Once it,
yeah.
once it once it moves into Capricorn, it will be in the sign that we have the new moon in. And so it is in its way the most potent time of the new moon. It's the time when things are hidden. And so it's considered a time when you can do some pretty powerful magic, but it really does. Um, you always want to have the best intention when you're doing anything like that because it'll always come back at you. You're not going to win the game on that. You're not your will is not going to control uh what is to happen. Um, so it's not really about that, but it's about planting a seed that and a potential that can grow into something that's going to last the test of time. We're talking about Capricorn, and Ona is a Capricorn, so she understands that idea. I have my Saturn in Capricorn. I understand that idea. Not easy to have the Sun in Capricorn. Not easy to have Saturn in Capricorn. It
Yeah,
requires you taking a lot of responsibility for yourself. And sometimes we end up taking too much responsibility on things that really aren't our responsibility, which can be, I think, the test of Capricorn sometimes.
yeah. It's definitely learning how to deflect some of that because there is a lot of energy that follows you home. Even when you do energy work, still it follows you home.
Yeah.
Even how well you protect yourself still follows you home. You know, it's hard.
It can it is the struggle of living in this dimension, I think. Seeing as Saturn rules this dimension, this third dimensional reality we find ourselves in, and that we're trying to sort of lift ourselves out of. We can't completely, excuse me, let it go because we have bodies, and we're here for a reason and a purpose. Um, and I think Capricorn knows that more than anybody, quite frankly. But this new moon is kind of exciting, I think. We're still in an 8 vibration for the universal year. So we're still manifesting. So we're still in that manifesting stage. Once we move into 2025, we'll move into a different vibration, that 9 vibration, the vibration of wisdom and healing and understanding and forgiveness and
Hermit card,
mostly the what?
the hermit.
The hermit, yeah. Yeah. And so we might even feel more inclined to be hermitish next year. But it's okay because we're processing. It
Yeah,
doesn't mean that you're escaping. It's not like you're hiding from what's happening, but you're planning on how you're going to deal with um, what's happening, I think. I think that's probably more accurate. And we're coming into a really active beginning of the year. Like 2025 definitely is it. Uh, I would call it front heavy.
yeah, I know. It's kind of a day by day. Sometimes you don't even want to project into the next 3 or 6 months. But as you, as an astrologer, and me, somebody who will forever struggle to study it to the level of understanding, you know, like this is kind of a rough time where you just have to be day by day and not 6 months ahead of time or 3 months ahead of time. That's too much for me.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just figured out that what was bubbling over like 4 days later. I can get hints in my environment, but to go that far out there and make all those connections, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, you also don't want to, there's a part of me that doesn't want to put it in, sometimes certain things I see or intuit, I don't want to speak into existence.
Yeah. Do you feel superstitious that way, or do you feel like that it has enough power to start to create a,
I think when you have influence, and you know, I don't have that much influence, so I'm not kidding myself, but I have a certain amount of influence. You have to be very careful what comes out of your mouth.
yeah,
Uh, Unless, you know, sometimes it pops out and you can't help it.
yeah,
I think those are the things you most need to pay attention to, honestly. The stuff that you can't keep in your mouth is the stuff that you know, otherwise you're like, you know, using your perspective to make sense of sometimes the most nonsensical things that are going on. So, but you know, this new moon
sure.
in Capricorn is asking us to grow up, right? This is the first new moon in Capricorn since Pluto left Capricorn. So what lesson? What lesson here, right? What's the lesson? What have we learned from, you know,
So
16 years or however many years it was where Pluto was in Capricorn? And how do we seed some of that wisdom into building a new future? Because everything that we've known before is in the process of dissolving away. And the things that are worth keeping, the ideas that still work, will remain. We just now have to find a way to structure that, I think, which is very Capricornian in its nature. What's your sense
just
of?
looking at the Gen Zers, thinking like this is when they are going to start to acquire some leadership roles.
Now, just remind me, because I don't do the gens that way. Who's the Gen Zers? What years are those?
95 to 2008.
Okay, so the Pluto and Sagittarius.
Yes. Yeah. So this will be interesting. And I think we're seeing some of it already with all the Starbucks baristas that are on strike because of insurance or wages. What was it? Amazon also was doing that.
Amazon was on strike. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yep.
all the executives are getting extra security
And pulling their profile pics.
because they don't feel safe.
No.
Um, there's no way to hide people. There's nowhere to hide. If you know, this is the generation of the Crusaders, you know.
Yep.
And so and they will hold you to the truth. They are no BS. This is a no BS generation. And they're starting to come into prominence. They won't be in charge necessarily for a couple more years, but they're
Yeah.
definitely coming into prominence. We're going to see a lot more of that coming in. And then once the Pluto and Caps get old enough, holy Toledo, that's what that's what
I'll be too
really
old. I'll be too old when that happens. They can do whatever they want.
yeah. Well, and they will, just
Yes,
like
they will.
they will,
Come
just like we have. Yep, sure, go ahead.
on, buddy.
The moon child is having a little trouble. He's having a
He's
moment.
sleeping, and I guess he was dreaming about vacuum cleaners because he was barking in his sleep. I'm like, "Why are you sleeping? What is he barking about?" And then he caught wind that I probably wouldn't, run to him for attention. So he's going to be a big baby again. Come here, but you like when you sit in front. Okay.
So I thought I'd pull the chart up, you know. Okay, let's take a look at this new moon.
This is
Um,
always a good way to end the year. I brought giblets to work last year on New Year's Eve. So for the last new moon, you can make a cameo.
I love it. Every video that Jibs is in is a good video as far as I'm concerned. So we have Monday, December 30th is the day of the new moon. It is at 10 degrees of Capricorn. It says an albatross feeding from the hand of a sailor, radiating peaceful harmony. If we purify the heart, then we radiate love to all beings and trust the certainty of serenity and joy, radiating peaceful harmony. It sounds like just exactly what we need to do in this moment. As we look at this, I just want to point out, I chose this picture for Capricorn because it really brings home the idea, like a lot of people see Capricorn as the goat, but a
Yeah.
Capricorn is actually the sea goat.
Yes.
And the goat is in the front symbolizes reaching the heights, and the fish part of the sea goat is the part that has plumbed the depths. And so when you get to Capricorn, when you get to that archetype of Capricorn, you got to a place where somebody has been through much and has pretty much gotten there on their own efforts. Capricorn is very much an energy of a self-made energy.
Yeah.
So a lot of times with Capricorns, you have to make yourself. That's part of the process of being a Capricorn is creating the structure that you can stand upon and that will mean something in the long run. It's not just about you, but it's about the people that come after you. So there's that energy with Capricorn, and I think you know, as you know, because you're a Capricorn, sometimes Capricorns get a little bit of a bum rap
Oh, yeah.
because they require people to be responsible for themselves. And nobody likes that. Nobody really likes that unless you have an understanding of that Capricorn energy.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, that's why I make myself accountable. And I think the only way you can do that is by example and make yourself accountable for your decisions.
that's right. That's right. And that's what Jesus said in the Bible, right? You teach through example. And that's a very Capricorn thing. And of course, his birthday is right around the day that the sun moves into Capricorn, right? That's they put him there. They actually think he's a Pisces, I think. The man Jesus was a Pisces, but the
Yeah.
symbol Jesus is more of that redeemer energy of Capricorn.
Yeah.
You know, they say Capricorn is the way out. Cancer is the way into incarnation because we all come through our mothers, and Capricorn is the way out of incarnation, where we can see beyond and the purpose for the work we've done here. In a way, it's connected to the great work. But
Mhm.
if we look at this chart, now this is a chart for the United States because I have erected it for Washington, D.C. So those of you who are not from here, apologies. But America's kind of in a place right now, as we know, and everybody's holding their breath. It's not very different for us, guys. We're holding our breath too. Saturn, of course, the ruler of the chart, is at 15 degrees of Capricorn. You know what? I don't have the Sabian symbol for that. You don't happen to have your Sabian symbols handy, do you?
I could probably Google it.
Okay, could you Google that? Google
Degrees of Capricorn,
the 15th degree of Pisces.
15th degree of Pisces.
Usually I have that like listed. That's weird. I didn't put it in. I guess I can't be perfect all the time. This new moon for the United States is in the sixth house of service. That's the military service and also healthcare. And we know healthcare is totally broken.
Oh, girl. The Sabian symbol for 15 degrees of Pisces is an officer instructing his men before a simulated assault under a barrage of live shells.
Uh-huh.
For thorough preparation and rehearsal before engaging in complex or potentially dangerous social rituals. Kind of stay home on New Year's Eve sort of thing. Highlighting importance of discipline, practice, and awareness of power dynamics within a group. So that's intense.
I think it's asking us to be prepared. I think we're gonna do it, and I think we're gonna do it as best we can, and I think it's gonna be successful on some level, but I'm not really sure people understand what's ahead. I'm not sure I understand,
Well,
and I'm
even like you said
look,
this morning, ground yourself. Like if that is the only thing you can do to discipline yourself today, something like that, like for the new moon, like that's critical that you get your hands in the dirt.
yeah, your feet on the ground. You know, where it's safe and your toes aren't gonna fall off from frostbite, of course.
Yeah, I'll probably just repot a few plants and then
Well, I'm lucky enough to have a nice big soggy backyard to walk through, so that was really fun this morning when I did that. I actually did like 4 videos this morning and I kept going into dark places. So I had to stop and start again. I'm like, no, no, they don't want to hear that.
wow.
I realized that if I had thought it was something that would be helpful, I would have shared it. But there is this sort of sense of a little bit of doom, like Mount Doom in the background.
You know what there is, and I think it's fair to share and it's fair to say this is what occurred. As I sort of recalibrated, my sleep and came back and I had an event too where I'm like, shouldn't really say stuff like that because I was showing my badge to somebody to let me go. And my badge says in case of a disaster, allow this bearer to go to the hospital. So my head went to, oh no, right? But maybe not. Maybe because it's just too much traffic today, right? Or I'm going to be late for something and I'm in a rush for something. Maybe it's telling me to just slow down.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that,
So
well,
I understand not sharing and sharing kind of thing.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, well, let me hold that back. Like, I'm not one to hold anything back, really. So when I do hold it back, I was like, okay, well, I always feel like if it's meant to come out, it'll eventually come out of my mouth anyway. But maybe at a
Yeah,
more opportune time.
yeah,
More
yeah.
opportune time. Yeah. So this whole idea of preparing for preparing your resources, I think that's important because I think this is going to go faster than we think, but it's still going to be intense and we're still going to have to be prepared in some way. And
Mm.
so we need to utilize the wisdom that we've accrued over the last, really think about what the last 16 or 15, 16 years have been as Pluto moved through Capricorn, and take that in. You're not going to have all the nuance of it, but you can do a bullet point on that,
Mm.
especially in this dark of the moon time before we have the new moon. And the new moon's, do you have a time on the new moon? Wait a minute,
That is Monday.
because I don't have the time up here. Again, bad
It
thing.
would be 5:27 Eastern, 4:27 Central PM. So it'll be like middle of the day.
Yep.
And Capricorn energy is like I gotta put all the bones on on the altar. I got some. I've got some.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
areas that Capricorn Saturn sort of covers is tripping on yourself. Saturn's in Pisces. I think this new moon will be careful in the ice.
Yes. 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 Notice the nodes here, almost at the last degree of Aries, almost on the Aries point, up at the top of the chart. Look at that. And of course, we have Chiron and Aries in the United States, and there's Chiron up there showing itself.
Oh, and direct, I'll look at you.
And there's a lot of things, there are a lot of things that are going to come down. This is assuming Trump gets in to the presidency. There's going to be a lot of things happening in the Middle East, and I think it's not going to be. It's not good for a lot of people. It's going to be a hard thing to watch.
It's gonna be very hard because now we don't have anybody who's remotely qualified to manage a situation like that. That's the scary thing.
We
That's
have
what I'm afraid of.
we have Mars opposite Pluto, right? Pretty tight, getting tighter. That's going to be exact on the 3rd, I think. So Friday, the 3rd of January, that opposition, which is creating a lot of tension in this chart, is going to be exact. It's connected to the nodes, which are also in the early degrees, right? So we have a mystic rectangle. This is something where we can create our own reality
Yeah.
here, and focus. And so in a way, it does help the fact that we have a new moon here. But this new moon is also sesquiquadrate Uranus. And this sesquiquadrate energy is an evolutionary gateway that we're being asked to walk through, with Uranus being the focal on that, and then the new moon sort of being um, the slower moving energy of this.
Mhm.
And I feel like there is a shock coming to people who are used to being in power, the power of the collective, and the collective is going to be fighting against people who thought they had it all under control. Just like the Democrats kind of thought they had it all under control, and they found that they didn't. Now I think there's another maybe party who thinks they now they have the control of everything, and the people are not going to cooperate because they're realizing, I believe, that they were lied to. That's what I think. But we'll see how that manifests itself as 2025 opens up and reveals itself to us. But this new moon is a time for us to um, plant a seed that's going to last. A sort of what do I want to say? The foundation. We're laying the foundations, perhaps of our wisdom and our experience. We also have an opposition. I mean, look at these oppositions. We have it between Jupiter and Mercury. Of course, the
Yeah.
opposition of the nodes is always there. We have the opposition between Mars. Mars, Pluto, those synodic cycles are the expression of the soul, the world soul, and what it wants to express, and it's expressing itself in
Jupiter and Mercury are in mutual reception.
yes.
That sort of soften the blow.
Yeah, it allows the flow. The opposition can be oppositional,
Yeah.
but like even with like what I'm seeing in the political spectrum is like even with that opposition, there's more latitude. I feel like people are coming to see where the similarities are instead of just seeing where the differences are. And I think that's going to be a big thing because we have to use our influence the way we can. And it's not really convincing people of your point of view, but opening them up to the possibility that perhaps their point of view isn't the whole story.
Yeah.
And of course, we still have Pluto square Jupiter square Pluto. That's a first quarter crisis in action square. We have one more happening in 2025. This is the Pluto's Jupiter cycle. That's like the societal cycle that started at the end of 2020 at 1 degree of Aquarius. So that was the seed planted, building, building something on lasting values, and those values being humanitarian.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So we're even though we're watching things fall away, we're also in the process of building things. So don't forget, it's not all about loss. That's why it's, I think, so very important to focus on the things you want to bring into your life, into your world. How do you want to expend your energy? What do you want to, because that's where we have the power. It's the only place we have the power is what we're actually attending to, where we're putting our focus. And we can put our focus on helping the collective get to the place we want to see it. You might be a peace activist. You may be somebody who knits pussy hats. Whatever it is, you're gonna do what you can, where you can, to the best you can, and we're gonna be able to navigate this. But it is gonna take a certain amount of preparation, and I think that's what these symbols are asking us to do. We
Yeah,
want
it's about the discipline, get ready.
Right. We want to radiate peaceful harmony, but we have to have a plan.
Yeah.
Gotta have the man with the plan, or the gal with yeah.
I see that a lot in a lot of YouTube channels that have popped up and in my feed. And, people want you to feel better.
Yeah.
It's not just like people gnawing at each other verbally via X and stuff like that. Think about, if they keep up a channel and they do well, that's great. But at least they're putting themselves out there and saying, you know, we can figure this out.
Yeah. 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 It's not all is not lost, guys. All is not lost.
Not yet.
I think I'll pick a card. Do you want to pick a card? What cards do you have there? Which one?
I have from last night still. I have the this one I think would be kind of good because it's a dark deck. The Guardian of the Night.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I like that one.
I like that for a new moon.
I
Right?
think I actually used that. I just finished my tower scopes. They'll be out later tonight, guys, or early tomorrow morning.
And then I got like Salvador Dali. And I pulled the Hermetic deck because I know you like that one, and I was wondering if you wanted to. That one was on standby.
Where my hermetic tech is. Weirdly. It's usually never very far, but I have a big desk and it is a little
That's
messy.
another thing I need to do. I need to organize my cards.
I need to organize my life. It's getting better though. It's been a real struggle.
They're really, really rough in there.
Well, I've also been very busy, so I'm not complaining in any way, shape,
Yeah.
but it does take away from, the time. All right, I'm gonna pick a Darcy. So this is the energy we need to be aware of for this new moon. What do you want to tell us, Spirit, about this new moon in Capricorn? I get star family. You are part of a team of souls. Call in support. So it's time for you to call in your markers, guys. Call them all in. Your 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 family members that are on the other side. Your the principal of your grammar school, Catholic school, whoever you got to call in. Call them in. Call them in. Because we need help. We need help. And help will come when you ask for it. Period. End of story. If you
Oh
need
my
help,
God.
say help. And when you say help, people come. It's amazing. But if
Yeah.
you're one of those, especially with Capricorn, if you're one of those like I can do it all by myself, and you don't have to. You should know better. You should know better. It's the team that makes the dream. Okay, what did you get?
They absolutely respond. I mean, they
Yes.
respond. They totally
Yes.
respond. They respond to the point where you say, scratch my left shoulder if
And
you
they'll
can
do it.
help me
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah.
They
And I
really
think
do it.
and the thing is part that people don't believe.
Super responsive.
People don't think they deserve the help. You deserve that. You deserve
Oh,
that. You deserve every happiness and every aid that you can,
yes.
every opportunity. Yep.
Right. And with that being said, I got the Three of Pentacles.
I love that card. I love that card. I know what some people talk about that
I
card.
know people talk about like dirty money, but in this case, Pentacles is Earth. We got the sun, the moon, and an Earth
It's
sign,
the
and it's about
simplicity. Yes, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The resources, right?
Yes, and then it's the elk, right? It's the deer, which is stamina,
Yeah.
which is stamina.
And he's surrounded by wolves.
Yes, so we have the help we need, we have the resources we need, we have the expertise we need. We just need to apply ourselves. We can do it, guys. We can do it.
He's surrounded by wolves. It's gonna be the 3 months of winter. He's surrounded by wolves, but he's very, very, very sovereign.
Yes.
He's badass.
Uh-huh.
So
And he's got his antennas all out, which means that he's not just his instincts, his view of the world. He's got his antennas out. And so we need to have our antennas out
yeah,
as we face. We have to prepare ourselves for what's coming.
yeah,
With a sense of peace and harmony in our hearts, right? That's what the symbol wants us to to know that it's
play a
all
winter card. Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting winter.
it is gonna be an interesting winter. It is. I've been a little lazy taking the lift to and from work since the
Well,
thing.
I mean, I don't think I think 5 degrees below zero is not lazy. I think it's judicious and
That was just the one day.
no, well, that's okay. It's okay. You can. Why not that fit that into your life? Why not let your life manifest that for you?
And you know what? And I love my job. I would give him an hour for free. That's how I see it. I'm like, between the 2 days working, getting a lift each day, that's like an hour that I gave him for free. I'm good with that.
Yeah. We have to live, at a certain point, and I think this comes with age, is that, in the beginning we can live without comfort because we're young and nothing hurts. But as we get older, um, we have to take it gracefully. The comfort that comes, take it
Yeah,
gracefully.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Christmas week downtown isn't the safest place. There's a lot of people, there's crowds and stores and returns and all that stuff. I'm not gonna get on a bus. I don't care if it's 75 degrees outside. I'm not getting on a bus. I'm not being cocky about it. Like my safety.
And I think that we need to pay attention to those instincts, very much
Yeah.
so. Very
Yeah,
much so. Yeah.
you're right. It is about sort of taking a deep breath and sort of unwinding. There was a lot of moments in the summer when I walked home from work where I could decompress and peel off a lot of that stuff. Getting on a bus isn't just an added challenge.
I grew up taking buses, so I understand.
Right
Understand.
now,
One of
when
the
you
reasons
walk on, you've got your parka and your, Christmas things, that it's like, I can't, like, it's too much.
I actually, because I grew up on buses. Sounds terrible, but taking buses, I grew up in the city. We didn't have a car. You didn't need a car.
Right.
Um, there is a certain amount of adventure that comes with that, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
you have to be in the mood, and going back and forth to work in the cold is not, doesn't always create the mood of wanting to be on the adventure of the bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
And find your comfort where you can. Go with a little extra mile. I know people are all worried about the economy and all, but don't, prepare, just prepare yourself for times when, one of the things that we do is we can a lot of things. We we freeze a lot of things. We don't, we try to, I'll say to Michael, this week we should eat out of the freezer because we have all this stuff that, that's in there for that instead of, so make sure you're well stocked.
Yeah.
And
You have to put that through rotation. I
yeah,
made
yeah.
a falafel yesterday that were like a year old. I'm like, I'm gonna take a gamble on this one, but I don't want to waste anything. I'm like, I could doctor it up to make it taste okay if it's freezer burn. kind of like, you know, prepare for. And we did in the summer when things, the produce, the last stuff of the year, you canned it, you froze it, made pickles or whatever. That's how we grew up too.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
we didn't have year-round availability for tomatoes or,
Well, that's the Italian thing, right? They take all the tomatoes in the summer and they have the harvest and then they make the sauce in the yard. I mean, that's
yep,
like, and then they have like bottles and bottles and bottles
yep.
of sauce. Yeah, we did that all summer. We have probably a good 10 jars of and what we would call summer sauce.
Yeah, your
And
big sauce. Yeah.
yeah, and then we open like
Yep.
we'll open up a one like what twice a month maybe. And we get to taste the summer again. It's really quite special.
Mm.
But you know, that I think living simply is going to be much more attractive to people than
Mhm.
living these complex, crazy lives. So we'll see how that pans out as well, I guess.
There is a big movement as like the homesteading, simplifying. I think we scared the crap out of people with everything that processed food you know, can do to you. I mean, they they want to know. I was like that too.
Mhm.
When I grew cucumbers, I would eat the skin. If I bought cucumbers, I peeled it.
Right, right.
That was just like, you know, something that I did and unwittingly because I knew it came from a source that I didn't have control over. I don't know what they put in it.
Right.
I learned that.
The closer to fresh, the closer to the more that you know where your food's coming from, the better off you are. And I think that um more and more people are going to start to move away from some of the protein sources because they're not being paid attention to. I think we have a problem. We have a lot of problems. We have a lot of systematic problems,
Yeah.
systemic, I think, problems. But you know, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. With all these Capricorns on the on the payroll, and Virgos and Tauruses, that will eventually be will be figured out.
We'll definitely help you figure it out.
Yes, we can. The nurse and the chiropractor.
Yeah, as soon as we do. What are the areas that Saturn covers in the body? Skin, bones,
Knees.
connective tissue. Anything that connects you, or
Yeah.
you could just be a pile of
Holds
plasma.
you together. Saturn holds us together. And it's in Pisces, so what holds us together is dissolving, right? But then it's going to have an opportunity to be reborn, and that's the point where we have to really focus on what we want to see, because otherwise it could be a very scary world.
Yeah, no, nothing to be afraid of.
No,
Mm-mm.
no. It's all a dream anyway. We're gonna wake up on the other side of this laughing and saying, "Holy Toledo, what was that about?"
It drives everybody fear, but I'm refusing to let it drive me.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, there's the two choices, right? Fear or love. Choose
Yeah.
love, and you're doing yourself and the world a favor, I think. Well, Ona, as always, this has been a wonderful experience.
Awesome new moon. I didn't really want
Well,
go
we didn't talk about,
crystals. I know, because I'm putting all of them. You know, I'm gonna have. I told you
well,
I'm gonna get the big ones.
I have right here, I have petrified wood, which I think is a great thing for Capricorn especially.
Yeah.
And in the crystal ally cards that I like to use, this is new beginnings.
Okay.
New beginnings. So I think petrified wood is good. Um
I got one for you.
I think oh, you know it's a great stone for Capricorn. Well, garnet, of course, is always a great stone for Capricorn.
Yeah, your grounding stone. Yeah.
But
The red, the deep
uh
red.
what's the one? Smoky quartz. I would definitely.
I have a Scorpio attachment to smoky quartz. I don't know why. I don't know why. I just do. It's very ancestral to me. And maybe I had an experience where I had like Akashic records read or something, and I don't know. Your bones.
Yes, look at that. That's a beautiful specimen.
It's it was from a cow, I think, and it was found in Tennessee.
Wow.
A bone, a vertebrae for you. I'll put that on the altar.
I actually have I
Yeah.
have an elephant's tooth in the other room. I'll have to put that.
Yeah. Anything that if that's so Saturny. Oh God. And
Teeth.
that's what this moon, is holding on to. And that's a black tourmaline
Yes, that's a good one.
here. Also,
That'll suck the fear right out of the room. All that negative energy gets sucked up in that black.
so you know what, that too, honestly, a time where you want to burn the sage, the Palo Santo. I put oil over the incense thing because the end of the year, you want to clear out the old stuff.
Yep.
And new moon's good for that. And then if you forget, you could do it on New Year's Eve. That's gonna be fun.
It's sometimes, the timing can be off as long as the intention is correct, I think. It's good. It's a good thing. Well, everyone, thank you for joining us. Hopefully, this is the last new moon uh, thing of 2024. And the next one will be the new moon in Aquarius, 10 degrees of Aquarius. That's happening on the 28th or the 29th of January.
A new book I have to
29th,
import.
right? And the full moon, which we'll be doing on Ona's channel on Moonshine, is happening Monday the 13th.
Yeah, okay.
At 24 degrees of Cancer, and I believe Mars is right around there as well. So we're gonna have that new moon with a retrograde Mars in Cancer.
I
And
have my
that's a
2025 book. I have to import all my cheat sheets and sticky notes into, which isn't a lot. But it's one of those things you have to organize it so you always know where it is the following year.
Well, spoken like a true Capricorn.
Isn't it though?
All right, guys, take care of yourselves. We'll see you again. We'll be on, I think we might, if I'm not sleeping, I'm going to be on Jen Lynn's for
Yeah.
the what is that called? Central Kitchen. She's doing
World
another,
Central Kitchen, yeah. Fundraiser.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I did get a tentative yes from one of our favorite psychics to maybe come on Mystic Sisters.
Yay.
Yeah, Susan Lynn. So
Oh, yeah.
that after Christmas that she would come on. So I'm gonna extend the invitation, and that'll be next Saturday on this channel.
That would be a hoot.
Yes, it would. Yes, it would. She is quite a she's quite a
Okay, bring your tissues.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you again soon. Namaste.